Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all, man. Glad to be here for another week. And man, we got another great fight to rescore. Said it once, I'll say it again. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, salute all. Good morning, afternoon, everything. Gloomy, rainy day here where I'm at, but nothing beats throwing on some boxing to get you through such. So I look forward to it.
Last week, holy smokes. No, I definitely drew a blank. I tell you what, we can talk about this past weekend for sure, because yeah, I'm drawn to straight blank. But definitely, I think the big talk of the town, especially on the boxing Twitter streets, is the Frank Martin fight. Unanimous decision over Artem, poof, Harut Tiyan from Armenia, fighting out of Germany. I think I said that right. Where is Boz? We need Boz. Anyways, yeah, I think it was 114, 113, and 115, 112. One of those duplicated. Going into the fight, I watched one fight of Artem. He fought a gentleman named Samuel Molina, and from that fight, I was like, wow, Frank's going to be too fast, too sharp, too quick on the trigger. And Frank was not on his game. He was not sharp. He really had to labor through. And kudos to Artem. He came, first time, I think, first professional fight out of Germany. And I think he made an impression of a lot of people. So if you take a look, you'll see a lot of people felt like Artem may have pulled that out. I beg to differ. I felt like Frank won a close competitive fight. Well, I wouldn't say close, a competitive fight. I actually had it way wide compared to everyone. I had a 9-3. Maybe it was a little bit of drink, maybe it was a little bit of boxing fatigue. We're watching boxing all day, but competitive fight. Frank, towards the end of the fight, he really probably took over about round 9, round 10. Looked like he hurt him in round 11, and in round 12, forced Artem with a closing left eye to take a knee to really, give him that space he needed to secure the victory on the scorecards. I'm not sure where people may think Frank should go next. One name I keep seeing is who fought actually the weekend before. There we go. Edwin de los Santos, southpaw from the Dominican Republic, got a clear and unanimous decision over Joseph Adorno. So yeah, definitely 135 is a hot division. There's a lot of chatter. We want to see a lot of these guys face each other. And Frank, we might have a new player with Artem. That remains to be seen. This is his first time on the, quote unquote, big stage. But yeah, Frank Martin, I don't think he impressed. But to be able to push through, he even said it himself. He wasn't really on. He had trouble, with his timing. But like I said, it was a dominant last 3 rounds. Very competitive the first 9 rounds.
Yeah, I only caught the highlights. A few highlights, and of course, one of the main ones was that 12th round where I know Artem took a knee. But that being said, that probably wasn't the full story of the fight, so I'll be going back to check this out. But I do like Frank Martin, or at least what I had seen of him. So I do think he's a player, and I want to see what's next for him.
How could we have forgotten?
Yeah, you said the right word, statement. Roman Villa, he was a guy who was coming in to throw heavy leather, but in this case, he was unable to truly find Ennis, who was on his A game. He was in his bag, as I tweeted out, put on a peak top level performance to show that he is the real deal at 147 pounds. You had to suspect that he was going to come out and really look to put on a show, given that his last fight didn't necessarily have that type of luster and appeal to it. But I know coming into the contest, one of the things that we were discussing in the previous stream was the fact that we felt that if Ennis was going to show that he was the guy, then he'd be the person to get Villa out of there in the later rounds. And this is exactly what he did. It wasn't close. I gave a round to Villa, but that was the fifth round, and I think I might have been a bit too generous in all actuality. It was never in doubt. Just a supreme performance for Jaron Ennis. And I think that when you mention the names Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and who they could potentially face outside of each other, you have to have Ennis right there up top.
Coming into the fight, I think it was basically it wasn't a top tier test, I would say, but still a test, right? Ruben Villa, no Roman Villa had two upset wins coming into this fight. So he had beat a prospect named Janelson Boca Chica. Knocked him down the first round and got a unanimous decision. Then the Rashidi fight, maybe that's a fight we can rewatch in the future because I felt that it was competitive and a little bit of controversy. I think a lot of people felt that Ellis may have done enough to win. It was just a great fight. He was able to secure two knockdowns, even though they looked like there should have been three scored against Ellis that last round. And he, basically he fought his way into this opportunity. Jaron Ennis, we always felt that well, I wouldn't say always, but most people feel he's the next guy up. We have, like you said, Arrow, we have Bud, and Jaron is knocking at the door. So we wanted a dominant performance, and that's exactly what he gave. He was cruising through that fight. Fifth round, I did get the Villa as well. It looked like he was landing some nice uppercuts, and then Jaron just said, "All right, it's turn up time," and boy, did he turn up! Forces a stoppage. So I'm excited with the future with this kid. I mean, he made what is a 147 limit. He came in at 145. Looks like he can be at welterweight for at least a couple more years or at least a couple more fights. And what's next for him? It's going to be tough because the two guys you want to see him against are fighting each other. They have a rematch in place as well, so they're tied up. So I want to see Stanionis. I want to see Keith Thurman Ugas. Those two gentlemen are talking about tangling. So the winner of that, if that fight gets made, and if not, I wouldn't mind seeing someone that's faced other top guys, such as Kavalaskis. He's faced Bud. People felt that he hurt Bud in that fight. He may have scored a knockdown, and also Virgil Ortiz, same thing. Some people felt he dropped him. He ended up getting stopped by both of them. So can Jaron be the one guy to not get touched, or take the punches as he did against Villa and eat them like it was nothing? Yeah, man. Hopefully we get to see Jaron in a big fight because, like I said, knocking at that door, and it's time for that door to swing open, or he's gonna have to bust it down. Yeah, so I was able to touch up on it not too a little earlier. Edwin De Los Santos, southpaw from Dominican Republic, is known as his big puncher, and he really surprised me with his boxing ability. I actually picked Adorno to win that fight. I felt that Joseph had the better boxing technical ability, and that was a swing and a miss. Edwin was able to, land left hands, right hooks, change, basically force a pace, and also control the distance in that that whole fight. And he was dominant. He's been calling for fights with Shakur Stevenson, Esau Cruz, and I would like to see him against Frank Martin. I think that's an explosive fight. You have two southpaws, two rising, big hitters, and they're both over there on Showtime PBC. So why not? Let's make it happen. Maybe we can get it as a co-main event. On a pay-per-view. There seems to be fights left this year. It's been a great year, maybe one of the greatest years in boxing in the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years, to be honest. And so I'm hoping that, these guys can be matched up together so we can go ahead and just keep the momentum of what's been a fantastic year.
Cool. I just someone just mentioned in the chat that they couldn't hear my mic. Hopefully that might be resolved. Let me know if it has. If not, I'll just carry on in silence. Josh, did you have anything to add on that one?
I'll just say great performance, very solid. But I think he probably could have even got Adorno out of there. So I would have liked to have seen that because he was in such control that possibility was there somewhat. And I think that would have been even more huge statement for him. But he was kind of content with just, hey, I'm going to outbox him and just win this thing outright. But that opportunity was most certainly there.
Okay, cool. I think my mic might be okay now, hopefully. We'll see. Buxiana, welcome aboard. Just seeing you in the chat as well. Let's move things along. Excellent confirmation that they can hear me in the chat. I've been having some mic issues, so thank you for that. Yeah, let's move it along. I think, was there anything else that we need to cover from the last couple of weeks? I know it's not been the most active periods, especially over here in the UK. Let's have a quick look on BoxRec. Oh, there was the female fight, Marlon Esparza against Alanis. Did you catch this one, Josh?
Yes, did catch it. A pretty action fight. It was very close, and I actually had it a draw. It ended up being I believe, unanimous decision for Marlene Esparza, and two of the scorecards were very wide and controversial. You even had people in the audience booing and cheer for the Argentine fighter that came over, and she was really offensive, very active, and pushed the pace on Esparza, who I thought slowed things down and boxed well at moments. But that was a tough fight for her, and I think it was one that could have gone either way. So very controversial from a scorecard perspective, but I know we see that a lot these days.
It was actually a majority decision. One of the judges had to draw 95, and then like I said, there's two wider ones. Alex, did you see this or anything?
No, I did not watch it. I have this, for some reason, I'm just not a fan of Marlon Esparza. Don't really care to watch her.
No problem. Okay, let's move things along. We're already, time's moving on pretty quick. So I reckon we should get to our fight for this week that we're going to watch and score. Canelo versus Lara. Alex, give us some introductions to both fighters, and then I will give you instructions of how they can join us.
All right. And also, shame that Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis was not able to go through. Hopefully, Virgil's okay. If he can continue fighting or not, who knows? I guess time will tell. And you just feel for Stanionis because he's been waiting for his big opportunity. But yes, on to the fights. Canelo Alvarez versus Erislandy Lara. Let's go with the quote-unquote B side of this fight. We have El Oro de Guantanamo, or he gets to be known as the American Dream, Erislandy Lara. 31 years old, 5'9", 75.5-inch reach from Guantanamo, Cuba, fighting out of Houston, Texas. He is the current WBA World Super Welterweight Champion, coming in at 19, one loss, two draws, 10 by stoppage. And then we move on to Saul Canelo Alvarez, only 23 years old at this time, 5'8", 70.5 inch reach, from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. He is the former WBC and WBA Unified Super Welterweight Champion, coming in at 43, one loss to Floyd Money Mayweather, and one draw, 31 stoppages.
Perfect. Excellent. So, if you are new here, you need to head on over to fight-score.com and you need to register because that's the best method of using the site. If you are a registered user, you are able to create and join groups. We have a scoring group for these live streams. You can see the code to access that group in the video description, I believe. If you go to groups, it'll prompt you to enter a code to join a group, and that's the code that's in the description. You can also find the link to the actual scorecard that you need for this fight. That's also in the video description, and I'll try and post it in the group chat, or one of you boys can do that if you don't mind. And yeah, you can watch the fight as we do, you can score it, and if you are part of that group, you'll be able to see your scores next to ours in the groups section. And it'll also contribute to the overall average scorecard for our scoring group. So the more the merrier that want to get involved. Let's make a start. I think we might be at some intros, so I might end up skipping ahead.
Please welcome to the microphone.
Turn that volume right down.
Valentino.
Looks like we've got anthems, so I'm definitely skipping.
Give people the extra, few moments to get their scorecards. Please use the website. Also, if you're here, hit that like button. Appreciate all y'all taking time on this Sunday afternoon to, go ahead and watch some good boxing with us.
Yeah, perfect. Josh has put the link to this scorecard in the group chat. Thank you for that, Josh. So you can just click that link. You'll be there straight away. You can just score without having to register if you don't want to do that either. That is fine. So, here we go.
This fight is in the MGM Grand in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. If you don't know, Erislandy Lara is one of the better amateurs to come out of Cuba to make it over here as a pro. He was a favorite to make the to win gold in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. However, him, Guillermo Rigondeaux, and Luis Ortiz decided to escape. However, Rigondeaux and Lara were caught. Lara was able to escape a second time to Mexico and move to Germany with some other Cuban fighters, Andrés Solis, Yuriokis Gamboa. So that's the kind of class he comes from, that boxing school from Cuba.
I never knew that. I never knew about them escaping and failing, and then maybe escaping at a later date. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen like Denis Ugas, he tried to escape like 4 or 5 times and was in prison many times over it.
Wow.
Crazy.
The young Canelo. Sorry, Josh, continue.
I was just going to say another thing that is related to this fight is over the course of Canelo's career, there have been those fights that the boxing fans, those that are truly into the stylistic aspect, have called for and sought. And this was one of them. They wanted him to take on Erislandy Lara. They felt that it was a style that was going to give him trouble, and they wanted to see how he would deal with Lara. And of course, it turned out to be, or at least I expect it to turn out to be, a controversial fight. So this adds into the legacy of Canelo as far as one of those fights that keeps people's interest peaked as far as who they saw the verdict go to.
I mean, you can see already, like I said, the amateur experience of style of Lara, being able to, throw the jabs out, backhands, change direction, And Canelo, he's a guy that, basically learned as a pro. He's come forward power. It's been an interesting battle already.
Indeed.
Swinging and a miss by Canelo.
Yeah, Lara does look.
Lara's very sound defensively.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable, doesn't he? In there, just kind of walking around. He knows exactly where he is in the ring at all times.
We got a southpaw versus orthodox battle. Always interesting to see the battle of the feet. First round in the books, huh?
First one down. Lara also one of those guys who doesn't waste punches, so when he's throwing, he's expecting to land with accuracy.
Preaching about getting scorecards up, and I've not got it up myself. Bad news.
Interesting about this fight taking place at 155 pounds. Like I said, Lara is actually the current WBA champion. However, it just seemed Canelo had no interest in cutting that extra pound to fight for the title. Lara was seen as basically the second best junior middleweight besides Canelo Alvarez. I'm sorry, besides Mayweather. So 155 pounds, the Canelo weight class. You just watch Lara in his feet. He's just so swift. He's so light on them. He's throwing the jab out there, and whenever Canelo goes to throw, he's able to pull that guard and reset Canelo.
Yeah.
Oh. Might have been a little bit of bad footing there. Didn't seem to really land.
That's a nice left. Nice left straight. Is Lara still boxing? I'm trying to think the last time.
40 years old now. He's the middleweight world champion.
Oh, he's got one of the mini belts, has he?
Yeah, expected to fight Danny Garcia. Supposed to be in August, but man, we're right there. You see Canelo, man, he is definitely stalking, but however, not throwing many shots, trying to work that body. See, the referee warns them on their feet. Like I said, with that righty versus lefty, that is very common. Nice little counter jab by Lara. He faked to the body, and once Canelo put his jab out there, counted him right up top.
Nice little uppercut got in there. Not sure if it was fully fledged landing, but
The awareness level of Lara at a top tier. Anytime Canelo thinks he's getting set, Lara is out of there, and he knows how to duck and weave with the best of them.
if you're going along in the those of you that are in the chat, let us know who you think are winning the rounds as the rounds finish. We want to hear from you.
Just making Canelo miss bad. It's just amazing how you can control somebody just with footwork alone. But you got to punch, of course, but man, when you're able to just step off on an angle, the opening's available to you.
Certainly. This is what they talk about when they talk about ring generalship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
close up on the feet.
Canelo kind of hooks the right foot of Erislandy Lara, trips him a little bit. It happens many times with righties and lefties. Great shot of that there by the folks in the truck.
Honestly, when you're fighting someone of the opposite stance, I mean, there's really nothing you shouldn't really even worry about it. Just do your thing. If you guys step on each other, you step on each other.
Right.
It's gonna happen. Especially when you're in somebody, around the same skill level. I mean, that could be the difference. You taking that half second to be worried about it. Now you're getting punched on. Mm. Lara's trying to get Canelo to come in a little more aggressive. Canelo's being patient himself, but the only thing I've really been able to see him land is that left hook to the body.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo cannot win this fight being the center. That's quite obvious. Lara's just too fast, too slick. Yeah, this is a lot of movement. Jesus Lord.
I guess this is, still like Canelo of today, where, he's moving forward slightly. He's trying to figure things out. I think back then maybe he was a little bit slow to work things out. Not that he's faster these days, because it takes a while to get going, doesn't he? But he eventually figures his person out.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Canelo before this. He fought Austin Trout. We saw the beautiful upper body movement. The Mayweather, that was a dominant performance regardless of it being a majority decision loss. And then against Angulo, he was able to show he could find the pocket. So, the Lara style was something that a lot of people were anticipating to be quite difficult for him. And I think that's showing now, just the speed, the slickness, the footwork. It's limiting what Canelo can do for success.
Indeed. A fighter tends to favor a particular side when they're on the defensive. And Lara has shown that he can pretty much move to either side. And I think that's something that is troubling for Canelo as well.
Mm-hmm. See, Lara's trying to. I feel like with that jab, he's just trying to position Canelo's hand so he can land a left hand down the pipe. And you saw he just switched it up and went 2-1.
I haven't really seen anything clean from Canelo in all actuality.
No, I think he seemed to try a little bit more in that round, but
trying doesn't score for you, right?
No, exactly.
You gotta do. Hey, I'm putting a lot of effort in, okay?
Want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Hey, some people would say that Canelo gets a lot of benefit of the doubts on the sport pod.
Certainly.
Man, they are blaring that Mexican music, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, what is going on here? Oh wow. I did not know Ronnie was there. Mm. All right. Let's see if he can sustain this success. You know, one thing they always say, like, if you can't get him to the head, of course, go to the body, but also the chest.
Hmm.
Definitely want to hit that chest. Because what do they say? The body doesn't move. You don't
Hmm.
move like the head does. Nice. I mean, man, that 1-2, how straight, how fast he does it is a thing of beauty.
It's accurate too.
Mm-hmm.
They plucked some numbers out of the air there. Body shots landed 16.
Look at that space between these two.
Pretty impressive looking back on this. I gotta be honest.
Was this the fight after Mayweather for Canelo?
He had one fight, Angulo. It's funny actually. They both fought Angulo and Trout leading up to this fight. Of course, Mayweather was sandwiched between the Trout and Angulo fight for Canelo, but a little bit of fight building there that I think a lot of people didn't notice.
Hmm.
Definitely more sustained attack. This is Canelo's best round so far.
Hmm.
Just seems that he's forcing that right hand up top a little too much from too far out.
Shows you that Lara, despite probably losing this round, is not panicking. He's still sticking to the game plan. Great point.
You see, just Canelo stalking, trying to. It's like, come on, man. The up top is just not working.
Hmm. Certainly.
Big swing and a miss again.
Look at that. See, I mean, it's just missing bad.
He'll be lulled to sleep in there trying to swing at his head. Lara's pretty slick, but I like the attention to the body that Canelo is giving. That seems to be the formula.
Hmm. That's 4 rounds in the book.
Feel like quick rounds too, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, that's certainly real quick.
Yeah, that left hook,
Landed
that
nicely.
right uppercut on the exit. Not much on it, but it lands.
Okay, we'll take a pause after this replay.
You see how heavy Canelo was on that back foot when Lara was pushing forward. That's how you get combination thrown at you.
Mhm.
You got to step off, or you got to be in position to counter. If not, you see how he just takes off. He's been doing that all the time. He gets Canelo just on that back foot, and then he's all right. I'm out. See ya. Next thing you know, there's 12 feet in between them.
Yeah, spacing is insane, as you pointed out.
Okay, let's have a quick look. We'll do the combined scorecard.
Everyone, if you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up. Also, if you're not subscribed,
Like,
go ahead and click that subscription button.
Great reminder.
Subscribe button.
you are appreciated.
Okay, it looks like we have the first 3 rounds to Lara, and then the last round Alvarez came on a little bit, landed the cleaner shots. But yeah, them first 3 rounds, controlling the action is the key reason there between the 3 of us. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It was a better round 4 for Canelo. He definitely did more. I think Lara did a little bit too much movement and not throwing, didn't he? Okay, we'll come back to that again after 4 more rounds.
Yeah. Right now, this is very much Lara's fight, so the onus is on Canelo to change the game plan to slow him down.
Oh, that was a nice little hook. Got some speed, ain't he, Lara, to be fair.
You know, I've heard a lot of times from different coaches, you know, their setup punches, you know, to land. And then I've heard other coaches say, I don't believe in those. But you see, he can be effective, you know, especially against a guy, you know, Canelo Alvarez at this time is seen as one of the better fighters, specifically around this weight class. Like I said, it is at 155.
Yeah.
Nice combination by Canelo. That was probably the longest we've seen Lada stay still.
I don't think he'll be doing that again anytime soon. Nice little counter.
A lot of people never thought that Canelo would take this fight. Like I said, the issue he had with Floyd Mayweather with just you know, that boxing education. You know, Lada was seen as a very common term they use now, the boogeyman. You know, he gave Paul Williams a problem that a lot of people thought he was robbed in that decision. You know, what's his name? Vanes as well. A controversial draw that was clearly dominated by him. However, he was coming off of he did stop Angulo. However, he was dropped twice. Um, Also, a little bit of controversy, not known to a lot of people, is Lada stated that there was a rehydration clause in that fight and that Angulo blew up way past it. And I guess it turned out there really wasn't a rehydration clause. So Lada was about 10, 15 pounds lighter than Angulo and felt that that was the reason why he couldn't take those shots, as he's previously shown a good gym. Looking like pretty much an even round so far. You know, Lada's been landing some 2-1s. Canelo's been sneaking in some body shots.
Yeah, probably the apparent difference, of course, compared to the earlier rounds is that, like you mentioned, Canelo, he is slipping in a few more punches that are getting through cleanly.
You can see basically where they're settling in range. Canelo has closed the distance a bit.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Mexican music. Oof. Canelo did turn with that, however, but great timing on it because Canelo was not going to block that.
Round 6 then. Defensive specialist.
Notice how Showtime hasn't put up a scorecard yet. Let's see if they will this round.
That's because they want you to get there on their app, I think it just said.
Okay. My cousin, shout out to Jason, said he got 3-2 to Canelo. Oh, nice counter by Lada there.
Tangled feet there.
Oof, man, boy. Lara's nice and cool in there from all those misses from Canelo.
Yeah.
And sometimes he loses that patience, and his age shows sometimes a lack of maturity.
Bit of head play going in there.
It's a good thing he's doing that. I don't knock that at all. You got to try to be physical with the slick boxer. Maybe try to frustrate him a little bit, because otherwise the boxer will frustrate you if you're in pressure.
Man, just the shooting of that right hand is he's just telegraphing it so much. Canelo is.
Mhm.
Halfway through this round. Anyone's for the taking.
Yeah. Those misses are fairly glaring from Canelo, even though he started to hone in a bit more. He still hasn't quite got comfortable in there yet with that movement.
It's just so funny to see. I mean, Lada literally could be on the other turnbuckle in like 2 seconds. Not really that appealing to watch. Lada was never known as an entertaining fighter, however.
Yeah.
But no one ever said he wasn't skilled. I mean, it's quite obvious. Like I said, I mean, wow, Jesus Lord, man, that left hand.
Streaks,
Good
yes.
body shot from Canelo.
See, Canelo, it looks like he's getting a little bit frustrated, Canelo, and he's right, I missed. Try again. Plow forward.
He caught him in there. There you go. See, you want to see more of that from Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Ooh.
Yeah, some nice shots landed there.
Testy.
Those are hard shots that he landed. I mean, if he can do that, I think he can steal a lot of rounds. I'll do that a little more.
And one thing, that is glaring also is just that with this movement, Lara's been able to keep Canelo from really throwing the jab as much. So a lot of times he's just coming in with straight power punches.
That was a fairly close round.
Agreed. That's right. At this time, the Charlos were all in the same gym with Lada.
Oh yeah, mind what the future holds.
So at the midway point of this mega main event scheduled for 12 rounds, Alvarez told us
See if Canelo can start taking over. You know, did he find something at the end of that round? You know, is that pressure finally going to start forcing Lada to stop moving as much? I would like to see Canelo a little more busy, understanding that he might have to take a little bit, you know, to start landing.
Shout out to Boz. Just made it in the chat. Good to have you here.
The boss has arrived. Clear the room.
Feel late, that's fine, Boz. Not to worry. You can catch the last 6 rounds.
Here we go, finally.
Okay, so they got Lara 2 up. Steve Farhood, that is.
Ah, okay. Djokovic.
Been watching the
You
tennis.
see, you know, these moments right here, Canelo has to do something. You know, jab, try to weed Lada to throw something and be there to counter him or to set up those body shots, which have been his, you know, #1 tool for success in this fight.
Yeah, a lot of moments of inactivity from Canelo, which is uncharacteristic thinking about him where he is now.
See those shots there, he may have not put so much into it, but you can just tell they're just hard little hammers he landed to the body, you know, those uppercuts. And you know, and there's only so much shots someone can take, especially, you know, with this much movement. Those body shots, They will slow him down eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this round is getting interesting, I think.
Agree.
Canelo's starting to land more and more for short this last, 30, 45 seconds. Nice body shot as he exits. See, he needs more of that.
He's
And now you
finding
see
that
when he's
range.
throwing to the body, Lotta Neat wants to move, mutes the offense.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Nice little split. There you go. See? See, that's what Canelo right there. He's definitely starting to, I think, obviously be the winner of this round. It's just being busy. He's busy, Lotta's not.
Yeah. Lara doing a lot of pawing, but need to see more of that left.
Some nice shots there. Body work. Lara got a cut on his eye.
No, definitely, I'm liking that right uppercut to the midsection and left hook to the body. It's maybe not landing all the whole, every time, but it looks like it is, and it's making Lotta be on the defensive.
Well, says Lara won this fight.
Ooh,
Spoilers.
yeah, it seems Canelo has found something when Lotta tries to exit, but you see those body shots. He's not as light on the feet as he was earlier. Look at that. He said, "Ouch." Look at that. Bob Santos, hot trainer out there, especially with the Dominicans currently. People don't realize how long he's been around. Oh, shit. Word of the day. Welcome back, Josh. We can see you now.
Guess I had hit the wrong button.
Went hiding.
Oh, he definitely felt that right hand. But you see that body work led to that right hand finally landing clean. And you see how he goes back to the body with the right hand. I definitely feel that this fight, Canelo's starting to take control of this fight the last 2-3 rounds.
Yeah. Lara's still moving, but certainly looks a lot different than it did earlier.
Looks like he's definitely felt some of those power shots.
A lot of people felt that Lotta talked himself into this fight. I mean, he was just constantly talking down on Canelo as a fighter. I think he showed up to Canelo's last fight press conference and was able to get at the post-fight conference and to get a little bit of back and forth. Nice combination by Canelo. But Golden Boy did not want Canelo to take this fight. But it's what we want to see from fighters. Canelo, 23 years old, said, "No, I want this fight." And and we see, it was a bit of a struggle, but he seems to have figured things out. And that's what we want. Fighters says they're great, they're the best. This is what you want to see them tested and to see if they can overcome, whatever may, transpire between those ropes. Jesus, that was long.
Correct. Hey, and then just think, 9 years later in 2023, people are accusing Canelo of taking easy routes and cherry picking fights. He's scared, man.
Yeah. To say that he's scared is just insane. Now, if you want to say, I understand if you want to say that he is taking alternate routes, I can understand that because I just want to see him against Benavidez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's now we got 8 in the books. I think, like I said, I think it's been definitely a turn of the tide.
Yeah. This is where the scoring gets tricky right here. Very much.
We'll take a pause in a moment and see how we're doing.
In most cases, Lara is probably going to be the more accurate puncher as far as the stats show, but it's the activity piece of it that kind of is where you have to balance things.
Okay, we'll take a pause there.
If you're wondering, like, wow, man, I really like this content. How come, there isn't more people? It's because you're not sharing it. It's because you're not liking it. Maybe it's because you're not subscribed. Go ahead and take that time if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button.
Definitely. Okay, this is interesting. So our tallies are different. Me and Josh are both seeing this as a Canelo Alvarez fight by a couple of rounds, and Alex has got it the other way around. So that is pretty cool. Let's compare your two scorecards while we are here, because that will make some interesting reading. Looks like the early rounds, fairly agreed. Lara, and then Alvarez. So it's after round 4 where it gets a little bit messy. So 2 rounds different there. Round 5 and 6, I think they were fairly close. So yeah, they could have gone either way. You both scored it alternatively, so Alex gave round 5 and 6 to Lara, and Josh gave them both to Alvarez, and then you both given the last 2 rounds to Alvarez or Canelo, whichever one you want to say. Additional comments as well there by Josh, nice to see. So that, yeah, it's a close fight, as the round percentage breakdown shows. It's just that you both got 4 rounds difference or 2 rounds difference. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. That's quite interesting. First 4 was pretty obvious. The next 4 not so much. And it gears us up for a pretty interesting conclusion.
Yeah. This is definitely a high stakes fight for Canelo. I mean, he has all this hype. He has a country behind him, and he wants to get that Mayweather, quote unquote, stink off of him, because he was thoroughly dominating that fight. So, like I said, he really does not get enough credit for fighting the Trout before the Mayweather fight, for taking this fight. Everyone just wants to bring the Yildirams and the Kirklands,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, let's see what other fighters are doing. And you can be like, well, Canelo's not fighting them, but it's like, yo, there's other people to fight as well. That's why I give Benavidez a lot of credit for fighting plan.
Yeah.
But you should fight David Morrell. It's never enough, right?
Yeah, we
There's always going to be someone he's not fighting.
We always want more. We're greedy.
Oh, Amir Khan, right. Nobody cared to see that. Nobody. Why did you fight Amir Khan?
That could have been one that was kind of just left off the books right there for sure.
Nice body shot.
Steve Farhood then has it even after 8, 76-76. Interesting.
I hate bitching, man. Yo, the ref said something. I like when fighters just like, whatever. It's like, all right, let me go beat his ass. Absolutely not. Yo, Canelo looks like he's on. Like, you can see, like I said, he's confident. Lada just looks. I wouldn't say that he's like depleted, but like I said, that high level he was showing, it's a little bit below that.
Yeah.
Man, I just love seeing him throw two punches down the pipe and turn. Like it's such a thing of damn, that was a hard left hook to the body. Try to get that uppercut in. I don't think he did.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this fight like 3 or 4 times, and I swear I scored different every time.
That's when it's a fun fight.
Yeah.
Oh, slip there.
Oh yeah, slip for sure.
Shout out to Lada for protecting himself at all times.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, this is besides Mayweather, these are two of the best fighters in probably in the world at this time. Like I said, number 2, number 3 is junior middleweight. And man, they only got 325,000 pay-per-view buys. But nowadays that would be like amazing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, even
round.
back then, Canelo was still a superstar, wasn't he? Not quite what he is today, but like getting there.
No, definitely. Like I said, this was such an important fight for him, for both. Lada's been wanting a big fight. I think people were calling him. People thought he could beat Floyd Mayweather. I could see a little bit why. I mean, he's younger. Swifter on the feet. That 1-2, the distance he's able to keep at times. But like I said, if you watch the Angulo fight, Angulo did close the distance. Canelo has closed the distance. So, maybe it is that amateur background of being a 3, 4, 5 round fighter. Now you move to professional championship 12 rounds. Like I said, those last 2 performances of Lara, though he got the stoppage against Angulo, it was rough. And it looks like it's going a little bit rough for him as well this fight.
Lara Mayweather might have been tactical, but I don't know if it would have been an entertaining fight.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't put entertaining in the vocabulary in that matchup, right? Technical, absolutely. Textbook technical.
Textbook, yeah. I don't think those styles would have gelled very well. Well, that was a nice little combination.
Man, what a fascinating fight. Canelo's gone back to fanning Lara.
You see at times Lara's having to sit down on those punches, and when he does, he's successful.
No, I mean, yeah, that's the problem though. He's like so used to fighting a certain way. Well, I guess as time has passed, I mean, you remember the knockout of Gary O'Sullivan? Like, geez.
Oh yeah.
But it's because he doesn't have those legs anymore, so he has to sit down. So yeah, I think if he would go back, look at this fight, it's like, man, I should have sat down a little bit more. Especially because he's nice.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful 2-1. Oh man, we got a tough round here.
Yeah, certainly. The majority have been pretty tough. If you think about what Canelo's doing to the body versus Lara, especially early on when he's landing, tough.
I think success has awoken Lara. You see, there's little more pep to his step now. He's definitely found a groove, especially with that 2-1. That 2-1's been killing. Or he'll throw the jab in. The 2 in the lead uppercut. But this is not what you want to see right there. Just not throwing. You got to throw something. Counter jab at least.
Right.
Yeah, he's got his legs back under him, and Lara is moving around nicely, fluidly is the word.
And I agree, Jack. That movement, it's got to be annoying, especially when you're just like, damn, I'm just missing. Like, stay still. Mm. Did he clip him there? I don't think so.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tight race right here.
I think
Very
that was the
tight race
toughest
to
round
the
right
end.
there.
Oh man.
Need a few more rounds like that for Lara.
Is
On
that
my
a
scorecard.
British 10-10 round there?
Say that again.
An important one perhaps for him, maybe a comeback one. Throwing combinations, the exact combination that Ronnie Shields asked for. The 1-2, and then later on in the round, using that rangefinder jab to land this straight left hand and then following up with the jab. Canelo Alvarez has concentrated on the body, and when he can get Lara in this posture, he will throw those body shots, and there's one that landed. But Lara able to escape his
That punch landed, and it's like a freaking kidney shot again.
Mm-hmm.
So Lara doing a good job of utilizing the footwork and still keeping Canelo at bay.
This is gonna be interesting.
Getting hot in here.
Certainly, it's gonna be interesting.
Championship rounds.
Canelo has had some success to the body. Erislandy Lara still doing a good job when it comes to utilizing the footwork and managing to avoid a lot of the attack and land with those economical combinations.
Yeah, he had himself a good comeback round because for a few rounds he had looked like he was starting to slow down.
See Canelo crossing his feet a bit there, trying to just follow him.
See how Canelo responds.
Oh man, I love fights like this. Such a great clash of styles, and just knowing these are two of the better fighters. You know, it was like kind of like when we watched Taylor versus Winky, right? I mean, those are two of the best fighters in the weight class, going at it, battling, fighting for supremacy. This has the same feel to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we missed in boxing. This is what made it nice uppercut. This is what made it, the top sport in America back in what, the 70s, 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably before that. I just that would be more your lane, Josh.
Oh yeah. Going back, yeah, there were some. There were definitely
Jack Dempsey days. I mean, what they say he did the first $1 million gate, right? It's amazing.
first $1 million gate. Certainly. Didn't see Tunney that style class, even though Tunney dominated majority of those rounds, except for one.
But that was the first combination I seen from Lara.
Quick shout out there for Josh's YouTube channel. If you're interested in boxing history, you need to go and check out 86 Boxing.
Right, true in-depth look at the history. I mean, you're gonna find guys that you may never heard of, and you'll just learn so much. And it's a true appreciation for what these guys were going through, what they were accomplishing, all that. So yeah, shout out to Josh for taking the time, making multiple videos a week. Definitely subscribe to 86 Boxing.
Appreciate it. Salute.
That boy's sitting down now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, got clipped by that right.
Oof.
I think Canelo needs to do a little bit more. I think a lot of ooh. Right, what? Nice touching shot.
This is a good round.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember when I was watching this, I was at a party, and it was definitely pro-Mexican. Yo, they were dead silent at the end for sure. I remember that. In the beginning and towards the end, around this time, yeah, around 11. Ooh, that was a heavy shot. You heard that, land. Oof.
Man.
Music gotten better too.
When Canelo Alvarez can get him on the ropes, he can do some good work like that right hand as he was kind of wheeling off the ropes. But later
Yeah,
on,
we felt that.
Lara will show us that even when he is pushed against those ropes, he can wheel away and do
So going into the last round,
see here. Canelo thought he was going to get him in that corner, and instead he got hit with a
Super clean.
hand. We should mention Bob Santos'
I was
cut has done a great job.
that's like what Andy Cruz was doing last night. We didn't talk about it, but Andy Cruz was just too fast. Just trying to find those right windows. I wouldn't say it wasn't a bad performance. It wasn't amazing, but I mean, to take a former title challenger, I mean, actually champion, and a guy that's been fighting, a lot of decent competition, and I
Mhm.
mean, he won basically every round. I didn't think he dominated anything in particular, but for that to be your first fight, that's tough. So he deserves kudos for that, taking on
Yeah,
that challenge, and like I said, winning all 10 rounds.
cool.
We've got big hopes for him, haven't we? So
Yeah, I had to go back and catch that. I didn't know he was starting out in 10. That's good stuff.
Juan Carlos Burgos, man, guy that's been there with Mikey Garcia, Keyshawn Davis. Man,
Hmm.
I can't remember any other name, but he's been around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, Canelo, you love to see this.
throwing
He is
some meaty,
beating Lada's body down this round started.
there was some meaty shots going in, weren't
That
there?
urgency. I'm
Yeah.
seeing it.
Oof, Jesus Christ. You wish this is what you saw in the 12th round of Haney Loma, right? Well, we saw from Haney a little bit. We didn't see it from Loma. Mr. I thought I had it in the bag. Crazy.
It's like something just gone off in Canelo's head where he's like, I know exactly what I need to do to trap him to land some meaty shots. It's like,
They said, hey, man, we pre-filled these scorecards. We let the last 2 rounds blank. You got to win this last one so we don't look crazy out here. No, I'm joking.
Adelaide Bird isn't in the judging issue.
He's good if she was, right? I feel like Lada's landed really clean shots, but Canelo, like I said, that body assault, that first 30 seconds and a couple of spurts from there, I think I'm leading Canelo so far this last round.
yeah, I'd go with that.
It's like, man, Canelo, if you just would have did this more, I think it would have been a clearer decision on who's gonna take it. And Lada, it's just like, those times where you would just mute. If you don't get the decision, you have to look at those because when you were letting hands go, it was a thing of beauty.
Hmm.
Nice left hand. Wow, boy. See, it's like, man, where was this guys in round 4, 5, 6?
Right.
Would have been a classic. Look, glancing blow by Canelo. Yeah, agreed, Polly.
Finishing strong.
Yeah, close one right here.
His talents.
With all the controversy around this fight, it was such a good fight. People don't talk about it being a good fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we made it. Woo! We
You
made
have
it
people who are
through.
strong in one direction. I know you said some people who are pretty strong in Lara's direction, but yeah, that was pretty close. I mean, tough.
Yeah, I don't think it was so controversial.
I can't wait to see your guys' scorecards. I'm very excited.
This is
I'm
gonna be
hoping
interesting.
we're gonna have a split decision.
Oh my goodness! I didn't think I would end up where I ended up.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest.
This definitely should have propelled both fighters. I think they both showed, what happens when you face someone else top level. You're not going to be everything's not going to be sharp. Everything isn't going to be, it's not going to be such a dominant performance usually if you're, around the same level. I feel like I just repeated myself in a weird way. Hold on, let me get back on the road there. But yeah, I mean, it was, one guy did something better than the other, vice versa for the other guy. And that's why we got the fight we did. Clash of styles, and it was extremely competitive throughout the fight.
Class was in session. Who will get the victory? Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Okay, let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have a split decision. Here are the score totals.
I hate when they do that. Just say
Judge
it.
at ringside, Jerry Roth scores about 115 to 113 for Erislandy Lara. Judge Dave Moretti sees it 115 to 113 for Canelo Alvarez. And Judge Levi Martinez scores about 117 to 111 in favor of the winner, Canelo.
That's a wide card, that last one.
Interesting.
Yeah, Levy Martinez gave Canelo every round from 4 to 11.
Wow.
And then scored the last round. He was the only one who scored the last round for Lara.
Wow, that's crazy. I thought there was an obvious sort of off round for Lara.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, definitely Dak. Man, he definitely thought he had that in the bag. Ronnie Shields actually said when they heard 117, 111, he thought for sure it was for his fighter.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know what? This is kind of in the same vein as the Golovkin fight. I think people might be seeing this as the robbery purely because of one scorecard that's so lopsided, whereas really it was a pretty close fight. I had Canelo winning. We're going to go and check our scorecards now anyway. So just to show that it was, fairly close, competitive, interesting. There we go. So we would have it a draw. We would have a draw. So I scored it to Canelo.
Close fight.
115-113. Alex gave it 115-113 to Lara, and Josh had it a draw, 114-114. And let's see what the combined scorecard was. This is the decider. This is the decider right now. So we get down to round 9. Alvarez.
I honestly did not expect it to come out as a draw, but hey, man, it's close.
What were you expecting?
In looking at how it was going, I was thinking it was going to be a Canelo victory, but man, I felt like Lara turned around some of those back end rounds.
Yeah. And
there are probably a couple others that could have gone his way as well. Man, just a tough one.
So there we go. 10 Alvarez. Sorry, 9 for Alvarez. We had round 10 for Lara, round 11 for Lara, and round 12 for Alvarez. So our combined scorecard would have it 7-5 to Canelo. So there you go. Maybe the decision wasn't so bad after all.
According to us, right?
According to us. But yeah, man, that's really interesting. And like I say, I think I'm onto something there when I say that a lot of the flack that Canelo gets is potentially due to one crazy scorecard in the Mayweather fight, this fight, and the Golovkin fight.
I mean, that's crazy that it's happening in these fights, right? Like, that's the issue. It's like, why is he always getting the benefit of the doubt? I love watching Canelo fight. I think he's an entertaining fighter. You kind of know what you are going to get when you're watching him. And it's just a shame that it's like, why is he always having this extra cushion? And I think that's what makes people dislike him.
Yeah.
It's that it always seems there's one person that's in control of the outcome in his corner.
Right.
Yeah. If they'd have just made it a little bit less obvious, make it a closer scorecard, it wouldn't be as bad. he wouldn't get as much stick, maybe. Who knows? Anyway,
The word on the street to this day is that Lara clearly won that fight, and every time I hear that, I'm like, it's just not true.
No.
Yeah.
Like, if you say you had Lara winning, I don't have a problem with that. You just see I scored it for Lara, But to say that he didn't deserve, Canelo, there's no way he won that fight. It's like, well, I'm sorry, you're just being biased. You're just showing that you have a dislike for him, and that's not fair to the fight we just watched because it was such a great fight.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing for me. This was my first time sitting down and watching it all the way through since watching it live when it happened at that particular point. And the biggest takeaway I would say is that it was actually a very good fight that gets lost in the shuffle because of the controversy, I guess you can say.
Yeah, definitely. I think that happens a lot where people say, "Oh, it's clearly a robbery or clearly whoever won just because of the controversy," and it just isn't the case. A lot of the times, the fights are quite close. But yeah, only in boxing. Anyway, let's round things off. That was a fun fight. Great one to watch. I'm not sure if you've got some stuff lined up for us the next time. Alex will come on to that at the end of the stream. But in the meantime, let's look ahead on the BoxRec schedule to see what's coming up in the next couple of weeks that might be worth talking about.
Man, there's plenty.
Okay.
We got a lot of boxing.
Where do you want to get us started on that one? I thought you had some.
I mean, I guess we can glance over, like the George Kambosos versus Maxie Hughes, which is, I believe it's for the number 2 spot in the IBF lightweight division. I'm not too familiar with Maxie. I know he fought Kid Galahad. Got Galahad coming up 2 weight classes. And, Kambosos coming off back-to-back losses. So it's definitely, we're going to see really is Kambosos one of the better fighters? Is Maxie Hughes a new player, a guy that's, been fighting, decent competition. This is his first big fight. They're doing it like somewhere in Oklahoma. Shout out to Top Rank, putting it, nationwide. But, I've never really watched Maxie, so I'm not sure on what to expect with this fight.
He's on a good run of wins, but I think it's just kind of almost like a British level fighter that's on a decent run, and he's getting his shot, I guess. Probably well deserved at a big name and a big payday. So I mean, potentially it could be a bit of a banana skin for Kambosos. I mean, he might be dining on that TO win for a lifetime, but we'll see. Josh, did you have anything to add for this particular fight, Kambosos and Hughes?
Yeah, just interested in seeing, how Kambosos looks, just to kind of see where he is as far as his focus, the mental space now, and he should be able to, I would think, get a victory over Maxie Hughes, but I want to see how he looks in doing so, and of course, looking forward to seeing what Keyshawn Davis does, Giovanni Santillan as well, and my man Troy Isley. Salute Troy Isley. But yeah, so I'll be looking forward to that. And I see Jeremiah Milton is actually on there as well. We'll see how he continues to develop.
Yeah, I like that Troy Isley versus Antonio Todd. Antonio Todd is a real tough guy. Just lost a decision to Joseph Hicks on the Clarissa Shields undercard. So that's a quick turnaround for him. So if Isley can maybe put something well together and get a stoppage, it's going to look really well on him. However, I wouldn't anticipate that too much.
Okay. I'm just intrigued into this Giovanni Santillan. He's got a 13-0 record, which, looks good on paper.
Yeah.
I think we might have discussed him before.
Yeah, he's a southpaw. That's it.
That's it.
Nothing else. I don't mean to disrespect the guy.
Yeah.
It's just he hasn't really been pushed.
Yeah.
Hasn't really been. I think he had one decent fight. I think it was like a main event or co-main. But
Antonio DeMarco, but it wasn't necessarily the best version of DeMarco.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it's always funny how the Americans treat their unbeaten fighters compared to us Brits. We'd be gushing over a 30-0 record and think it's the next big thing.
Newborn baby. Like, oh, it's like when someone says, "How old's your kid?" Like, oh, it's 48 months. Like, you mean 4 years old? That's how they treat some of these guys.
Right, right.
Fair enough. Okay, let's continue. That's one of the big ones. That's UFC for some reason. These are not too exciting. Playing Russia, that's in the UK. That's UK level nonsense. Okay, Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue, or however you pronounce the names. That is a great fight. Josh, give us some thoughts on that. It's on Tuesday. They love a midweek fight in Japan, don't they?
Yeah.
Make it awkward for us all. But yeah, great fight. Super bantamweight, WBC, WBO titles on the line. Go, Josh. Give us some thoughts. Give us a prediction as well.
It's a fight that, at least from what I've been seeing as far as online buzz, a lot of people are looking forward to. At least some of the true boxing fans, or at least those who just like these great stylistic matchups. We have the monster in a way taking on Stephen Fulton, cool boy Steph. And it's an interesting style clash because Fulton, he has shown that he can be a very slick boxer when he needs to be. I like how he was able to at least derail the train of Brandon Figueroa, who to that point had been sort of an enigma, being that he was a tall, long fighter who fought the opposite of what you expected, and he really pushed a number of fighters, including Luis Neri. Or is it Luis Neri? Yeah, Neri to the edge. Am I getting that right? The Brandon Figueroa. So he had that victory. Danny Roman, that was another solid victory against a good boxer.
Yeah.
And I think that it was sort of a coming out party for Stephen Fulton, showing that, hey, he is a true player at this top level, And I remember seeing him when I first got aware of him. I actually met him in DC here. And he was the IBO champion at the time, and he seemed to be really poised to stamp his name in the sport. Next thing you know, a couple of years later, he's up there, top level. And we know Inoue, we know what he can do. He's pretty much destroyed the majority of the top class opponents that he's faced. That fight with Donito Donaire, the first one at least, was a fight of the year candidate. I think it may have won fight of the year for in some regards. Then the second one, he came in, iced Donaire. And I think this one, we're going to really see him probably put it to the test. I don't see, in a way, stopping Fulton. I just think he has that grit to him, and I think that he's slick enough that he will trouble in a way. And it might be one of those situations where it's just going to be close, and we're going to be on the edge of our seats and wondering who is actually the victor by the time we even get to that last or that 12th round, and we see what happens when these judges' scores come. I hope the judges and the scoring doesn't ruin things. This is taking place in Japan, so I'd imagine they're going to have maybe a judge from America, a judge from Japan, and then one from some neutral site.
Yeah.
But I do expect that it will be a good, close fight. Hard to call overall. 50-50. If you put a gun to my head,
there's a gun to your head. Come on.
I might lean in a way, but I don't want to be in that situation, though. So draw really is what I'm thinking.
Draw. Wow. Alex, give us yours, mate.
Yeah, man. I truly believe these are two of the best fighters in the world, especially, below 135 pounds. It's a fight that I don't think I really saw, coming. I thought definitely Fulton was going to move up. I wasn't sure if Inoue was going to be able to meet him at 122, or, how it goes. Usually it's, oh, it needs to be, what do they always say? It needs to be marinated more. It has to be built up. Blah blah blah. Oh, sides of the street. And Stephen Fulton, definitely did his part to make sure that that wasn't the case. He told Al Heyman, "Listen, I want this fight." And you like to see this. These are two fighters that have belief in themselves, that they believe they can beat this other guy, or in this case for Fulton, he could beat the monster. So I think it's going to be a great clash of styles. I, I'm just like Josh, man. It's like it's such a 50-50 fight. You never seen Inoue against this type of style, nor at this weight. So I'll lean Fulton just because of that. But I'm talking about 50.1% compared to Inoue 49.9%. So I can't wait. I'm gonna make sure I watch this fight live.
Yeah, it'll be. We'll have to see what time it's on at and whether I can have it on while I work. But yeah, hopefully.
I think I saw it 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning, so that's probably like 11 o'clock your time.
Yeah, it should be.
Early start for the day right there. I'm gonna have to do it.
I should be willing to work. Maybe I can skive off a little bit. Just having a quick look at the odds. Inoue is a favourite. You can get 3-1 on Stephen Fulton, which is quite interesting. I would go with those odds, to be honest. I think that the monster is a monster. I think he's a fantastic fighter, boxer, puncher. I think he will get the win, whether he wins on points or a late stoppage. I'd probably go with points on this one. I think Fulton is cagey enough just to see out the final bell. But I think, I might have a look at some of the different markets on the bet, and it might be worth putting some money on something there. I'll go with Inoue to win that one. Fun
Fair.
fight though, very fun fight.
Can't hate on that pick.
Nope, good. Undercard then. Rabisi Ramirez, we like him. He's fighting names Simizu. A name I've not heard of. Go on, Alex, give us some thoughts on her.
Rabisi's going to Japan for a title defense. Shout out to him, staying active.
His opponent looks 11 wins, 10 KOs, got a bit of power. He's 37 years old, so he's aging a bit. Looks quite tall though, 5'11". For a featherweight, that's huge. So maybe some problems could be caused there. Maybe, but you'd expect Ramirez to get that job done. It's quite a big difference in height there. Josh, you got any thoughts to add to that one?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the opponent. If I've seen him, I see all of his fights have taken place in Japan. I will say that Rabisi Ramirez looked brilliant against Abraham Nova. I remember that fight, and I was just thinking, hey, he is on point. And then he's looked good in the last two fights, but you can tell he's still growing somewhat. There's still some work to be done. He has a title now, so you would think the challenges are going to get tougher. But if he's in the lab, then I expect he'll continue to develop. I don't think we've seen his final form, but very promising fighter. So I'll be interested in see how he handles his opponent. And if he gets him out of there in impressive fashion, then that could mean probably a big name fight, maybe even him headlining.
Yeah, he seems to have been on the cards for a while now. Hopefully he can have a bit of a breakout and be headlining on his own. It's definitely a fun fighter to watch. Cool. Okay, let's move away from that one. Just backing up just to make sure I've not missed anything there. How much further forward do we go? To the 29th? 30th?
29th. Yeah.
Yep, so there's Friday the 28th, we've got Sinester Estrada in action against Udica. Josh, you got any insight on this one? Clearly Alex does.
I do not recall Unica. So this is her, I want to say, second fight with Top Rank. I think it's going to be her second fight with Top Rank. So we'll see how she looks. This will be, WBA, WBC, minimum weight title on the line. I know, of course, the name, we mentioned it earlier, Marlene Esparza, that's probably the fight that is going to generate the most buzz for her right now, at least in or around those weights. So will that rematch happen? That'll be the question. So we'll see how she handles her opponent here, and maybe that's coming at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has only one knockout I
One.
see in her
She's an
20
Argentinian
plus
banger,
contest.
19-1.
So,
Yeah.
but you never know. She might come out and be super offensively sound to the point where she could upset the apple cart. But I'm gonna be leaning Estrada, who has looked pretty good anytime that I have seen her in there. So I'll rock with her.
Okay. Andres Cortez versus Xavier Martinez looks like a fairly moderately interesting matchup.
Yeah, Xavier Martinez is used to be signed to Mayweather Promotions, but they've released him, and then I think he fought Conceição on his first fight with them,
Yeah.
something like that.
Robson
And
Contest.
Andres Cortez is a guy really making his name over there in Las Vegas in the gyms, just popping up saying, "Yo, I'll spar your best guys." He's been a guy they've been pushing slowly but surely, so this is a big step by fight for him. And actually, this card it's actually really decent. You got Abraham Nova, who we saw get knocked out by Train. He's fighting a dude named Jonathan Romero, who I remember being, I think he was a champion at 130 or 126. I believe he's Dominican or Panamanian.
Colombian.
And you go down even further, Rohan Polanco. He's a Dominican prospect that fought on El Tren's card as well. That was in Oklahoma. He's fighting Cesar Francis, who was a guy being pushed by Pro Box. So it's really interesting that they're fighting each other, especially because Cesar, I think he lost his last fight.
Looks like
So
it.
no, this card actually is really solid. It's definitely a great domestic card, hardcore card, I like to call it.
Yeah, that's what you want. Any of those fights that Alex has just mentioned, Josh, that you wanted to touch on, or any particular person?
No, I think he did it well. I'll say Charlie Sheehy, he looks pretty good. Looks like he could be somewhat promising as he moves forward and the competition continues to rise. But I've seen him a couple of times and look forward to how he continues to develop.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid card, that one. We need more of those types of cards over here in the UK. Unfortunately, we don't get that.
Just in boxing.
Oh yeah, true. But I mean, over in the UK, that'd probably be a pay-per-view card.
That's so funny because we feel the same way. Like when it comes to like comparing what's going on over there in the UK, because like I like how you guys match up some of your young guys, for those what do they call it, like regional belts.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the big one, the big event. Saturday, the 29th of July. It's finally happening. Let's not just get too excited just yet. Let's wait until the ring walks. Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. It's been however many years in the making, do we think? 3, 4
Some will say
years?
4, some will say 6. I don't, for some reason.
Maybe 6 is a stretch, but
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming. It's possibly the biggest fight in the sport. We're all excited for it. I'm excited for it. Alex, you go first on this one. Give us your thoughts, predictions. Go on.
Man, so you got Terence Crawford, three division, former undisputed lineal champion at 140. He had the ring champion at 135. What is he on, a 10, 11, 12 knockout streak? And I think he's knocked out 7 or 8 straight KOs at welterweight. Seems to have everything you could want in a fighter. He's athletic. He's got power. He's got speed. He's got footwork. He's a mean guy when he's in there. And he's facing, even though he's so accomplished, he's never faced anything like an Errol Spence. You're talking about a dude that's coming. He's gonna push forward. He puts on this pace and maintains it, and never looks like he's dropping in his gas tank. It just always seems full, and that he's it's all the way up on those RPMs on that meter. He's a guy that's gonna, a former Olympian. People used to believe he had such a great jab, and he's shown that he's a lot more than that. That he, if he's strong, He's gonna try to bull through you. You know, the thing he keeps repeating is, I'm gonna break his will. We're gonna see if he can take it. And he's all 3 belts he has. He's taken it from champions. Went over there to Sheffield in front of 30,000 people and broke Kell Brook's other side of his face. Sean Porter was definitely going to be his toughest fight, and he went out there and Sean took his jab away, and he showed what a dog is. Sean Porter was seen as a dog. Well, he seemed to be the bigger dog, and maybe like he calls himself the big fish, and going ahead and taking another face, another broken face, and Yordenis Ugas. After all these long layoffs, he had like one fight in like 3 years, and had a scary moment. When his mouthpiece came out and he took a clean shot. It's like it woke him up. It woke up that shark that he claims he is. So, two of the best fighters in the world. I truly believe the winner of this should be considered #1 pound for pound fighter in the world, and I look forward to it. I was known as Big Fish Vega, but I can say that I had an epiphany, and I just said, man, you know what? When it comes down to it, this fight is going to come down to skills, and I believe Terrence Crawford is the better skill fighter. I got Terrence, taking over in the mid-late rounds and actually stopping Errol Spence.
Wow. Okay, that's a big shout. Nice. Joshua, your turn.
Yeah, this is one of those fights, not unlike Mayweather Pacquiao, maybe even you thinking going back Leonard Hearns, maybe even or Leonard Hagler, where it's hard to find individuals who are in lockstep. The pros aren't in lockstep, the fans aren't in lockstep, those that talk about boxing. I mean, it's going so many different ways. There are some who are super definitive on their side as far as who they think is going to win, but you have others who is just as steadfast. It's just going to be one of those fights that I hope lives up to the hype. I too have leaned towards the side of Crawford. I just feel like he has that extra or something on the skill set side, and there's different wrinkles that we've got to see a lot more as far as him coming up from lightweight. But that being said, the size is very much apparent. Errol Spence, he is definitely the bigger fighter, and we know that he is vicious to the body. It'll be interesting to see how Crawford handles such, and if it goes to the trenches, how he responds. But that being said, from what I've seen just through it all, while both of them have that dog in them, Crawford, man, he just has a mean streak, and he's that type of guy where I just don't see his will breaking at any point. And by that same token, I don't think that he's going to get Spence out of there. So I'd imagine this goes to decision, and hopefully it's without controversy, but, knock on wood, I think that's asking a lot. That being said, I just hope it's a great fight that we all enjoy, can talk back on, and makes it worthy of a rematch, right? Because at this level, it would be good to get a rematch, because it's been a long time where we had two of the best in the division like this and considered to be two of the top 2 to 3 pound for pound rematch in a fight. So let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
agreed.
Canelo Triple G. I guess you could throw that in there kind of somewhat, but this right here, definitely for supremacy in the sport.
Yeah, like I say, if it's a competitive fight, then yeah, a rematch would be absolutely fine, because whether these go after this fight, they could move up and fight other people, but this is pretty much their defining fights of their careers, isn't it? For me, I'm gonna make it a clean sweep. I think that Terence Crawford's gonna win as well. I just think he just does the offensive stuff slightly better. Errol Spence is a great, well-rounded fighter, but I think Terence Crawford has just got that mean streak in him, and he can just take people out. Errol Spence can possibly sometimes hold back a little bit, whatever he would do in this fight. He should do, because he should throw everything at it. But yeah, I've got Terence Crawford. I think it's going to be a decision, although it could be an accumulation type of stoppage, maybe later on if Errol Spence is marking up around the face and stuff like that. But I'd go with a Terence Crawford on points. And just as you boys was talking there, I was getting the odds up. I like to check the bookmakers' odds, and they have Terence Crawford as a very, very, very slight favourite. You're getting generally 4-7 in UK odds. Sorry, I'm going to have to go with UK odds, the American odds. 4-7 for Crawford and 6-4 for Errol Spence. So it is razor close. You get 16-1 on a draw if you fancy a draw, which might not be a bad shout. But yeah, great fight. It's been a long time coming. We're all eagerly anticipating it and cannot wait until they are in the ring and that bell goes. And I'm sure we will discuss both guys in the future, the outcome of that fight, where they both go in the future. We will discuss that on the next live stream. Just a quick mention, the undercard on that. You've got Isaac Cruz against Giovanni Cabrera. Any thoughts on that one, Alex?
Yeah, man, this isn't exactly the matchup I think a lot of people were hoping for when it came to Isaac Cruz. He's definitely elevated himself since he had that decision loss to Gervonta Tank Davis. And that seems to be like the big thing. You fight Tank Davis, your career changes forever. And, there's been a lot of talks, they said of, possibly a Ryan fight. I think that got ordered by the WBC. Didn't come to fruition. He was ordered to fight Shakur Stevenson. His dad came out and said that, it'd be like a dog trying to catch a cat. And, if you look at who he's been fighting, what is it? Yoriokis Gamboa, Zorrito Ramirez. And now we got, an undefeated fighter, but, unknown to us, Giovanni Cabrera, El Cabron, who, he seems to be solid. I've seen him beat Gabe Flores. I think he knocked him down like 2 times. And I think Gabe might have been, I think Gabe already had 1 loss. But, definitely forced Gabe to, unfortunately, he got released by Top Rank and he was a top amateur. So El Cabron he's a southpaw, heavy, back left throwing, fighter. So it'll be interesting. Isak is all pressure. So like I said, I'm not really excited for this matchup, but hopefully it turns out to be a fight that is worth being a co-main event. I expect Isaac Cruz to run through this guy eventually, whether it be early, middle, or late of the fight.
There is a title on the line there, WBO Latino lightweight title, so big honours at stake. Josh, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty much lean in the same direction as Alex there, and I think this will be a showcase for Isaac Cruz. Whether we'll see whether he looks good and handles Cabrera. I don't imagine he'll put up a stinker, so it'll just be a showcase for him. And like Alex mentioned, hopefully, it's a good co-main, since that seems to be where it's listed, co-main.
Co-main. Yeah, okay. Okay. Sergio Garcia, the Spanish Sergio Garcia, is also in action against Jonas Tellez, Cuban. Is this someone to keep an eye out for? Josh?
Yeah, I don't know Tellez. I know Sergio Garcia, of course, but one of those guys, fundamentally sound, not a lot of pop, and he doesn't box with that type of authority that I expected to be anything related to a stoppage or anything, at least coming from him. But it'll be interesting to see how Tellez looks here, who is a Cuban, 5-0, 4 knockouts, and given that he's Cuban, I assume he can box.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's what I thought. That's why I asked the question. Is he some kind of hot prospect potentially?
Maybe Alex knows, but I'm gonna go with the assumption that he knows what he's doing in there.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is supposed to be Jesus Mano Ramos. We're supposed to be getting this opportunity.
Okay.
He's a hot prospect. We saw him on the Benavidez Plant undercard just beat down Joey Spencer.
Right.
And but unfortunately hurt his hand. So they throw in this 5-0 Cuban prospect, and that's a huge leap in competition for him. So We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what to expect. I mean, when it comes to it, but hopefully, we will be entertained.
Well,
We just watched one of the Cuban prospects take a loss. I think it was on that.
And he already has another fight lined up, which not too hopeful about.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, I won't be shocked if he won. Like I say, Cubans are very capable boxers, and Sergio Garcia, up until a few fights ago, wasn't really doing much, just fighting out of Spain. So Anyway, that wraps things up. I think, that was an interesting stream. Good fights coming up to look forward to as well. We'll discuss the outcomes of those in the next stream in a couple of weekends' time. Alex, do we have anything scheduled, or do we need to make a decision on the next stream?
Nothing really that I've been able to narrow down. It's going to take a little more research, but yeah, we'll get that out there soon.
All good. So everyone keep an eye out on Twitter, on YouTube. If you're not already done so, please subscribe and please like this video as well. It'll help us. We'd appreciate that. Also, I think Josh and Boz are about to start their weekly podcast over at 86 Boxing. Is that right, Josh?
Yes. We're going to do a little something. Feel free to drop by.
Yep. If you want to stick a link into the chat, feel free to do so. You can head over there now because I'll be getting started in a few moments. As usual, we appreciate everyone that stopped by. Boz, as usual. There was a few other people. Jack the Artist was stopped by earlier. Boxiana, Jason Garcia, and possibly one or two others. We appreciate you all stopping by, taking part in the chat and putting up your scores as well as we score the fights. We'll see you all again in the not too distant future. Alex and Josh, appreciate you both as usual. It's been fun and interesting as usual, and we'll do it again in a couple of weekends' time. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sweet. Okay.
Thank you.
We will see you all there. Take care.